good old boy, he's got a story to tell. Tavin will mow your grass and make it look so well. Now Tavin goes donut goals when in town he comes, getting strength for his haunches to cannonball for fun. Tavin ramping up the holler, Tavin trying to make a dollar, Tavin.
Welcome to the Tavin Dillard Podcast, y'all guys. Season 12's episode 11, or as they say on the French Riviera, episode 11. I don't know what they say over there. I ain't never been there, but I've been to the Mississippi River. I've seen them orchards in St. Louis. I've been to the Smoky Mountains before. I have been to Gatlinburg, been to Branson. So if you can't say I'm cultured, you sorely mistaken, because I've been places. I've seen things, y'all guys. I got Tavin's Lawn Care Services. Mowing, edging, grass cutting legend. Welcome in, y'all guys, to this episode of the podcast. And them lawns are a little bit of pink, pinkle bone. Now, I don't know where you live. I know there was snow in Arkansas last week. And if you listen to this on the day it come out, I'll tell you one thing right now. Boy, you get to the middle of February and you basically over the hill and you can see March from mid-February. It's such a little month. It's just a tiny little month. And now this week is over. We about to say, see you later, Februaries. Ta-ta for now. I hope y'all had a good one. This might have been one of the best Februaries of my life. Why, Tavin? I don't know. Just felt good. Just felt good. That's all I know. I want to thank y'all for sending in stuff. I don't know how this is going to go today, y'all guys, because I had a little bit of cough. You know how you get a little bit of a cold and you feel like you're a little stuffed up, and then you talk for a little bit and your throat kind of hurt, or you just like lose your voice or anything. Well, I just talk, and that's what a podcast is somebody either talking about something or whatever, and it's like a radio show. You know, it's for your ears, so that's an option that you got. But y'all been sending in stuff, and I guess things have changed a little bit. I used to wait for y'all to be, for the last episode of the season for the Q&A, but they just kind of come in here and there, and I thought, I've been kind of answering them, last few weeks. I feel like 2 weeks at least. Well, I'm going to do it again today. I got, I got a couple text messages, and then I got a couple emails I'm going to read. And I ain't probably responding to everybody that got with me this week, but here's one. Brian R. said, awesome show today. He was talking about last week's, episode 10 of season 12. Appreciate that, Brian. He said, I know you have had Cricket on the show before. Yep, Cricket's been on the podcast. Wonder if Tavin's Memaw, and that's my Memaw, I'm Tavin, would ever like to be a guest on one of your shows. Well, I know the answer to that, Brian. I can tell you in just a sec. I bet you that'd be a hoot, and I know your following would probably love to hear from her and Rachel Christine. Grandparents' Day is not until September, so that's a long ways off. Sure is. Now, to answer the main question there, Brian, about Memaw being a guest on the podcast, listen here. You might know my Memaw well enough just from my videos and podcasts. No, this ain't something she want to do. She don't like the attention. She make the rules. She ain't trying to be a part of anybody else's little thing. And I ain't trying to hog tie my Memaw into doing something she don't even want to do in the first place. No thanks. So that's how it's going to be. She don't care if I give y'all baby doll updates, and sometimes I need to just so I don't go crazy. So y'all can share in the pain with me. Thanks for the text, Brian. And then let's see, Charlie sent me one here. Let's see. Yep, that's Charlie Townsend. Hey, Tavin, love today's podcast. Again, he's talking about last week's season 12, episode 10. Picture and Memaw and Mabel fighting beside a 91 Buick Regal cracks me up. Hey, buddy, it's pretty serious when it happened. I just put it to you like that, Charlie. Do you have any stories of Memaw jerking a knot in you or your brother's tail when y'all was younger? Yeah, I think I actually told a couple of them. Maybe days more recently when we adults, because she still do it. You get out of line or something like that, or you too loud in the place you're supposed to be quiet, or you too quiet in the place you're supposed to be loud. Like if there's like a rooster calling contest at the county fair, and you got up there and just kind of dragged your toe along the stage and slumped your shoulders and looked down and didn't anticipate. Memaw wasn't having that. Keep up the great work. I look forward to seeing the shorts on Instagrams and YouTubes and the podcast. Well, that's where Charlie's listening and watching. Appreciate that, Charlie. Thanks for the text message. And I got a couple emails now here before we get into everything else today. Annie, she said, hey, Tavin, I love all your content, and the Tuesday podcast is the highlight of my week. Well, I'm happy to hear that, Annie. I got 2 questions of what she says. She says she got 2 questions, and then y'all guys in the email, she really did have 2 questions. Number 1, when we listen to the podcast on Spotify, does that support you? Wondering how I can support your content besides buying merch? I already have 2 of your t-shirts. Crow Funyun is my favorite. Well, that's a good question. I don't think Spotify supports me. I mean, I guess the short answer is I don't see any money from Spotify. I don't see any money from any of my podcast stuff. I don't even have sponsors on this podcast. You know, if you listen to podcasts, it'll break in the middle and somebody say, well, today's podcast brought to you by or whatever. Well, I don't have any right now. It's been a while, so I just tell y'all what I got going on, which is like my t-shirts, my personal video greetings, my live shows, that kind of thing. So, no, I don't. I mean, if you want to support me on the podcast, I mean, I think the best way is leave a comment or, you know, leave it a rating. So if it looks better in the podcast world, more folks can find it. And then maybe eventually they'll find my website, you know, with my hats and shirts and all that. But I didn't go to school for podcasts, so I probably could be doing better figuring out how to make money off of the podcast. But this does not generate money that I know. Well, I may, if y'all go buy shirts and stuff, I just don't know. If you went over there, you know, there ain't no way to track. Oh, they heard about his shirts on the podcast. I think most of that traffic's from my videos, but what do I know, you know? So that's the best I can give you on the business behind the scenes of a podcast. Not a lot of business going on, truth be told. Number 2, since you did such a great job explaining the solar reclance last year, I did do that. Because the sun and the moon, well, it's very scientifical, and I don't know if we need to get into it, but basically it's a little peekaboo. Excuse me. No, I'm going to stay here. Well, you in front of me, you know, kind of thing. Anyhow, it collapses on itself. Anyways, it's science. But Annie's saying, will you make another scientific video explaining the polar vortex that a lot of countries experience in last week? It's science. Thanks again. Thank you, Annie from Kentucky. I could, but I think I might have missed it. You know, I might have missed the opportunity. If people aren't going to it, they ain't as excited to watch it. But I could definitely explain the polar vortex easily. But not right now because I got another email to read. Thanks, Annie. Hello, this is from Amy Patterson. Just wanted to let you know how much I'm enjoying your podcast. Exclamation point. She put that at the end. Glad Coach Hicks was able to fix the clothesline for Memaw. You and me both, Amy. I'll tell you that right now. Got that off my plate. And she said, I'm curious about the baby doll convention. Where is it going to be? And is Memaw taking Rachel Christine? Are you going to have to take Memaw to the convention? Can't wait to hear about it. Well, Amy, you sent your question on the right day. I can tell you that because I got a big update on all of that today. But I'll tell you right out the gate, the baby doll convention's in Branson. And I do not hope to go to it at all. So anyways, I'll get more into your answer during the whole podcast today, Amy. So thanks for sending that in. Thank y'all guys for shooting me an email or a text during the week. It'll be in the show notes if you want to get in touch this week. 501-322-6249, that's my number. And then the email is tabandillard@gmail.com. You know, I didn't think, talking about business, I didn't think for a while to let people know that I do commercials for businesses. I just don't, you know, I just do I just give you updates on life in my neck of the woods on TikTok and Instagrams and YouTubes and all that. But then back in December, I thought, well, I'll let people know they need. And so people reached out, and I've done commercials for businesses. And then this last week, on Fridays last week, I posted a video again about, hey, I can do commercials for businesses. Here's one I did for this business in East Texas. And people reached out again, which is great. I love doing it. Hey, and so the reason I thought of that is because I was about to give you my email address, and that's how people have been getting in touch with me about them commercials too. So if you need that for your business or whatever, tabandillard@gmail.com. So yeah, I guess going back to, who was the question? Oh, Annie asking about, does Spotify support me? No, I guess I just tell y'all what I'm doing. I get out there and hustle and support myself. So if y'all want to be a part of that, tabandillard@gmail.com, or you can shoot me a text if you want to holler at me this week. Just say hi, 501-322-6249, all in the show notes today. How in the world has the week gone for y'all guys, though? We on the other side of Valentine's. It's starting to peekaboo a little bit of spring, depending on where you living. I've been doing pretty well. I've been motoring toward the end of this shortest month of the year, like I told y'all. And if you listen to this on the day it comes out, you know it's February 25th. But you might listen on another day, and that's fine too. That's the way the podcast world works. Is it's okay? You ain't in trouble if you listen to this in April, you know, like that. So folks have been getting in touch with me. They do. They're like, hey, I'm on season 3 of your podcast or whatever it might be. And I'm like, there you go, boy, you chugging right along there. So they ain't listening to anything I'm doing today because they ain't there yet. But you are, and here we go. So you probably know that my Memaw has a baby doll convention on her radar, and that's what Amy was asking about. And it's in Branson this spring. I mean, early April. And it's almost March, basically, y'all guys. So time is ticking. And you also know that my Memaw has a clothesline now. Thank you, Coach Hicks. It's like a dream come true. And the fact that Coach Hicks put it up is kind of putting Memaw over the moon. She's decided that he was over there working behind her trailer, which is gross to me. But it is good to see her happy. Now, you also know that since the clothesline is done, she got her sights set on the next thing. But something happened this week, y'all. Oh, do tell, Tavin. Oh, I will, y'all guys. I will. Now, she's got to start thinking about this trip to Branson, and that costs money. Of course, she's taking her baby dolls, and she wants a special display case that somehow she thinks I know how to build. But she also starting to realize something else. This ain't going to be a cheap trip. So once you pay for the gas to drive there and a hotel room for 2 nights, maybe 3, cover food, pay for admission into the convention, you realize you're going to need some jingle in your pocket. Memaw needs some jingle in her pocket. I just made up that song. I know it's not a big deal. So it kind of took the focus off me because Memaw needs to make some money herself, and that's on her. So her and her best friend, Tabby Jean Tipton, decided to do a yard sale. Now, this ain't a bad idea. I mean, folks have done this for ages. You know, you need to raise a little money, do a bake sale, do a yard sale, that kind of thing, or a craft sale, whatever you make. You know, you make a little money selling it. If you ever done a yard sale, though, you know that there's a little bit of art to it. Firstly, whose yard? It's location, 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 right? Where are we setting up this yard sale? And B, what items? Then how are you going to display them items? Because you want to catch folks' eyes as they drive by, but you got a good location. You got to be where there's going to be high traffic where they are driving by in the first place. I mean, there's a lot to think about, y'all guys. You don't just throw this stuff together. You got to think like a business person. Now, I'm not sure how much Memaw thought about any of this, but I'm telling you, these are the kind of things that I think about. So she did, in fact, have a yard sale this week. And I want to tell y'all about it. You could say it was thrown together a little bit, but she did make it happen. I will say that. My Memaw made that thing happen. I told you, if she want to do something, she will. If she don't, she won't. That's why she ain't a guest on this podcast. One of a number of reasons. It ended up being more than just Tabby Jean Tipton and Memaw doing this yard sale. You know how you talk to folks and word spreads and people say, oh, I want to help. Or better yet, oh, I got some stuff you can donate. Or that, you know, to your cause. Now, Memaw told folks is a fundraiser for her Branson trip. So she told them what it's all about. But if you only say it at the beginning, folks might not understand or remember, and then things could get awkward later. You know about that? Well, more on that in a minute. For me, I know I can't delay on this baby doll display case at this point. The clothesline's up, it's off my plate, and now I got to figure out this baby doll display case. Memaw's second big New Year's isolation that ain't done yet because it depends on me apparently. Rusty Tidwell's supposed to catch me up an idea, just sketch it on a, I don't know, napkin, piece of paper. And then I was going to talk to him about what supplies I need to buy and all of that. Well, Rusty has been pretty tied up with a mini truck show at the Tri-County Rodeo. He got some of the best tailgate art in the Tri-County area. Everybody knows it. It's crocodile with an M16 shooting at a 12-point buck, beautiful deer, with a goodly sized catfish jumping out the water overhead. Don't matter no how. All I'm saying is that Rusty gets invited places. It ain't just the art. He takes real good care of that truck too. So he been busy, and I had the thought of talking to Donnie Wayne Chambliss. He runs the repair shed out by the lake, and the bait and tackle shop that Rance Farnhart owns called Fishing Clips is right there next to it. You know about that. So I meet up with Donnie Wayne on Saturday, even though I told him I'd get him lunch at Fishing Clips. So that's where we met up at Fishing Clips. He didn't have a far walk from work to get over there. And if we could meet up there, and then I'd ask him if he could help me like draw up like a prototype of a baby doll display case. And Memaw managed to get the yard sale together the same day that I'm meeting with Donnie Wayne to figure out, my part in her big Branson baby doll adventure. Well, turns out Rance gave us our meals for free, so it's kind of like a win-win. The first thing Donnie Wayne asked me if the display case is for more than one baby doll. Turns out that's a question I did not have an answer to till earlier this week. When I asked Memaw, and she liked talking about it because she could tell I was serious about getting started on this, and she liked that a lot, so I'm on her good side. I'm asking about stuff she care about. I'm asking about her getting her goals accomplished. You help somebody accomplish their goals, they really excited about you. So she said she really wants one display case, and she was thinking she could rotate baby dolls out if she wanted to, but it's really for her favorite baby doll. And if you know it, say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Rachel Christine! That's right. Now, Memaw ain't got a booth at the baby doll convention, and I didn't want to get too far into the weeds on that, but I was curious why she needed a case if there ain't a table or anywhere to sit that baby doll. She's just walking around the convention. She told me that she's bringing a wagon and pulling around the baby dolls because they want to see the sights too. Told me them baby dolls want to see the sights too. They don't. But I wasn't about to get into it with her, so I just let that go. And she said there's a meet and greet, and she'd rather have Rachel Christine in the case. That way she don't get dirty. Or if there's dolls that Memaw don't approve of there at the convention, then Rachel Christine don't have to associate with them. This is what Memaw's telling me. I know y'all guys, welcome to my world. She's my Memaw, so I let her. So I got my orders, and I kindly understand a little better what in the world she wants from this baby doll display case, and now Donnie Wayne does too, because he's sitting across from me at Fishing Clips with a plate of fish and hush puppies right there in front of him, tearing off a paper towel from the roll on the table and sketching an idea with a pencil he pulls from behind his ears for a baby doll display case. We talking, he's sketching. I don't really understand everything, but I figure it's on the paper towel, and he's going to write down the supplies I need there too. Starting to feel like a weight lift off my shoulders. Memaw's clothesline's up, and I got a blueprint from Donnie Wayne Chandler sketched in pencil on a paper towel. I mean, don't get much more official than that. And I thought I'd head out to the country road there. It's a 2-lane toward Chet Dilroy's where Tabby Jean Tipton lives. That's where Memaw decided to have that yard sale. They had some big items, so you need them big ticket items on the curb so folks stop. The biggest you could see from the road was a Minnow tank. Pretty big tank on the edge of the yard there. Tabby Jean and her husband have a big front yard, long driveway, plenty of parking. And Memaw put flyers up in town about the yard sale. Rickard's grocery store, Donut Goes, Early Bird Gets the Perm. So word got out, that's what I'm saying. Memaw did spread the word. And because word got out, folks wanted to help. Gracie Dilroy and her sister Delandra, they love a good yard sale, so they brought stuff to sell. Now, Memaw said that the yard sale is to make money for her Branson trip. Remember how I told you she's telling people about it? But it's really like she's saying, without saying it, hey, if you want to help pay for my trip to Branson, come help be a part of this yard sale. So that's how it's going. I'm glad, and some of them said, that's great, we can donate. So you figure the person that says that, well, they understand that if you donating something, you giving it away, you ain't selling it, you ain't making the money. Well, that seemed to work for Memaw until Gracie and Delandra showed up to the yard sale with some ginger peach iced tea they made to sell and handmade vegetable and fruit themed pajamas. They set up a little card table next to that empty Minnow tank for the ginger peach iced tea. It's like a little lemonade stand, and next to that is another card table with them pajamas they made. It was then Gracie said, we'll give you 50% of all tea sales, that Memaw realized she was only getting half of their tea money and none of their pajama money. She didn't like this. So she walks over there to their table and she says, I was thinking 100% of everything. This is my yard sale for my Branson trip, but we can do a percentage of the tea and the pajamas. So now Memaw's trying to make a deal. Instead of just kicking them out or taking all their money, she's trying to offer like what they call an olive branch in the business world, I think. Gracie and Delandra are wide-eyed. They just kind of like, bang, bang, just taking off guard. I mean, it's like they was on two different planets. You ever had that happen where you and somebody else you're talking to for a long time, at the end of the conversation, you realize that y'all are talking about two completely different things? Or worse yet, you ain't even talking to the person you thought you was talking to. then you're like, no wonder they looked at me funny when I told them their mom was the funniest clown at the town birthday party last year. Their mama don't even live in this state, kind of thing. So anyhow, Memaw kind of looks at them glad, waiting for a reply. Just Gracie clears her throat. I guess we could do, then she looks over at Delandra, and Delandra nods to Gracie. Let's say 15% of the pajama sales, and we'll keep the 50% of the tea sales. So 1-5 for the jammers, 5-0 for the tea sales. Now, Memaw don't love this, but she is also starting to see that these gals who handmade pajamas, they vegetable and fruit themed. I mean zucchini, squash, corn, green beans, broccolis, nanners, oranges, some other citrus, blueberries, that kind of thing. She starts to see the goodly amount of work went into making these jammers. As the day went on, one thing Gracie and Delandra learned was that there ain't a huge demand in our neck of the woods for vegetable and fruit-themed pajamas. Maybe it's just the clientele, as they say, at the yard sale, the folks that pulled up to see what was going on. That's all I can think. I don't know. But I pull up to this yard sale. I see Gracie and Delandra and Memaw talking by the table. There's a couple customers there. Tabby Jean talks to them. I make my way over just to see how things are going. And Memaw's asking, how many pairs of jammers have y'all started with? And how many glasses of tea have you sold? How are you keeping track of all that? Delandra's in between that minnow tank and the tea table with her back to the tank when she backs up and falls in. But when she falls, her feet go straight up and she kicks the tea table. It tips forward and all the tea pitchers and the cups, they all start sliding toward the pajamas table where Gracie and Memaw scoot out the way in alarm. Now what's happening here, y'all? Just a science lesson? Gravity took over. That gravity took over and this stuff is just getting pulled. The tea hits the table, now them jammers is wet, the tea is gone, and somebody's gonna have to help Delandra out of an empty minnow tank. I mean, she's on her back like a turtle in a hayfield. I hurry over there and help Delandra out. She loses her footing and falls back into the grass where the tea table spilt over. She rolls on her back. She got tea on the back of her neck. Like the back of her neck is just steady wet, like she had a PE class and she got grass stuck to the back of her neck too. It is a mess, y'all guys. This happened so fast too. It's like, how fast can we turn this yard sale into just a circus? Boy, pretty quick. I pull a paper towel from my back pocket, I wipe her neck with it. Now I get done wiping her neck, I hand that paper towel to wipe her hands on when I realize what I handed her. It ain't just a paper towel. That's a baby doll display case prototype sketch from Donnie Wayne Chambliss on a paper towel from Fishing Clips that he handed me earlier. And it's gone. I mean, that paper towel got put to work, buddy. The yard sale went on for a while. I guess in Memaw's defense it's kindly thrown together, but I think you can do that with a yard sale. I don't know. What I do know is that after expenses, Memaw made $17 at that yard sale. So she got some work to do, get to Branson, but she can't be waiting on me. So I got work to do. I got work to do on that baby doll display case, and so that I ain't holding up nothing for Branson. First order of business, get back out to Donnie Wayne's and maybe have him write it on a regular piece of paper. I wouldn't have pulled a piece of typing paper out of my pocket to try to wipe Delandra's neck with, I can tell you that. But progress has been made, but there is a ways to go. I don't know if Memaw's going to have another yard sale. If she does, I know where she can find a box of bonnets for squirrels. She ain't got to look too far for that. She made so many of them thinking squirrels would love them. They don't. Oh well. That's it, y'all guys. I appreciate y'all joining me for the Tab and Dillard podcast today. I do hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Say hey to March for me. I'll probably say hey there too because it's coming up quick. Please leave me a comment if you can. Rate that podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. Check out them show notes for all that's going on and keep in touch. You see my email and my number where you can text me. I mentioned that earlier too. So thanks for doing that, y'all guys. Stay in touch. I'll see you on the interwebs on your favorite social media platforms. And hey, if you ain't a pair of fruit or vegetable themed pajamas covered in ginger peach iced tea and Tabby Jean Tipton's front yard out on that 2-lane toward Chet Dilroy's, you having a pretty good week. Me, I'm Tab and Dillard. This is a Tab and Dillard podcast. Till next time, y'all guys. We'll see you later.